This is One Broke Gamer Girl, and this is my review of Life is Strange Before the Storm, Episode 1, Awake for the PlayStation 4. A few weeks after the reveal that there was a Life is Strange 2 in the works that wouldn't center around Max for understandable reasons, Life is Strange Before the Storm was revealed at E3. To tell you the truth, it was the highlight of my E3, and as soon as I was able to pre-order it, I did so. I eagerly awaited the release of this game so much that I was totally into the whole countdown thing, and then when I was finally able to play it, I played through the whole first episode without stopping. In Episode 1 and throughout all 3 episodes, you'll get to play as Chloe Price. Everyone who played Life is Strange already knows Chloe and knows what she's been through, but this will take place 3 years before the re-arrival of Max. After not only losing her father, but also her best friend, she's having trouble coping as a teenager and goes from being that normal teenager to one of the most angsty and rebellious teenagers around the town of Arcadia Bay. She'll disobey her mother, hate her mother's new boyfriend David, get into as much trouble as possible in school, and most importantly meet Rachel Amber. Episode 1 sets all of this up for the rest of the season. It shows how Chloe is making the transition into the person that we see her as in Life is Strange minus the blue hair. While you don't have the power to rewind time, I'm pretty sure your wit and sarcasm that can be used throughout the game will come back and bite you in the ass. I really enjoyed this episode. I had one minor problem that I'll address later, because it was nice and familiar to go back to a place before there was this huge storm threatening it, and there was a girl there who was able to rewind time. What was everything like before the arrival of Max, and what was Chloe like before seeing her friend again? This was all a very interesting dynamic to see in this first episode, and I enjoyed the first real meeting between Chloe and Rachel Amber. This episode basically served as an introduction, and I was completely fine with that because I liked exploring Chloe's home life and interacting with familiar characters like Joyce and David, while also exploring her school life and interacting with more familiar faces like Nathan Prescott and Victoria Chase. It was an interesting dynamic to see if they were the same people 3 years before the first game. Even though this episode was super long, I never found myself bored and was actually pretty disappointed when it ended because I could have kept playing. Back to that minor problem I mentioned. The one and only problem that I had with this game, which is pretty awesome, isn't the fact that the same voice actress doesn't play Chloe. I tried as hard as possible not to get involved with that whole voice actor strike drama, but the fact that I felt like I had to play Chloe a certain way was what my minor problem was. Chloe isn't a blank slate like Max was. You could play Max to be any way you wanted her to be, but Chloe is different. She's an already developed character, and although you were given choices, I felt like I had to make what would be considered the wrong choices because I felt like that's what made Chloe into what we see in Life is Strange. Make sense? Anyway, if anyone else had the same problem, let me know in the comments section down below. If you've played Life is Strange, then the playability for this game is basically the same. You'll make your way through different scenarios and basically make decisions that will eventually come back and affect the episodes later on in the game. There were a few problems with the looking around portion of the game and trying to focus on an object or a person to either look at them or interact with them, but that was pretty minor. Other than that, the game was bug and glitch free. The graphics for this game were pretty simple and mimicked the graphics for the first game. They were really nothing to write home about and were just there. They didn't feel special in any way, but the main point is that they fit the game and the feel of the game, so they worked. Finish this game and graffiti your way through the town in order to get the first 11 trophies for the game. By the end of the game, if you do this for every single episode, you'll be able to get yourself a new Life is Strange Platinum trophy. The trophies really aren't hard to get, and if you set out and explore, you should be able to get them all. I personally missed 3, but if you don't get them, you can easily go back to in collectible mode and clean up what you missed.
Hey kids! Free candy. I'm sorry, officer.
There is no multiplayer for this game, or even crowd play, which is all good for me. For a moment, though, I did wonder about if this game would have multiplayer. What if someone else was controlling Rachel Amber? It would change the game completely and would be an interesting dynamic, but that being said, it's not like I would want to see that feature, just something that popped into my brain. Overall, I give episode 1 a 4.5 out of 5. Here's what's great about it. It was a great introduction into Chloe 3 years before the re-arrival of Max. It also gave you an inside look into what Chloe and Rachel Amber's first meeting was like and the relationship between the two girls that evolved from there. Also, as always, a strong shout out to the soundtrack for this episode, which was just as amazing as the original Life is Strange soundtrack. Here's what's not so great about the game. There were a few missteps when it came to focusing on an object and trying to interact with it. Also, the fact that Chloe is an already developed character, and it made you feel like you had to play a certain way because she wasn't the same blank slate that Max was when the game had originally started. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode, and I'm looking forward to the episodes to come, especially the farewell episode, because of course I had to get the deluxe edition. I would say that so far, if you're a fan of Life is Strange, that you'll want to play this game, if only to get one more chance to see and actually play as Chloe before Life is Strange 2 comes out. I'm not sure about the release schedule for this game, so if you're good with waiting and seeing when the next episode comes out, go ahead and pick up this game now and play through the first episode because you won't regret it. If you're the type that wants to play all of the game when it's released, then you'll want to wait until everything is released before picking this game up.